But this was the first time we saw Paige really get guarded. This is where we saw what is going to happen in year 2. This is the scout report that needs to be out there on Paige Bueckers once the Dallas Wings get good, because the Dallas Wings are going to get good at some stage in her career. This was the game where I'm like, okay, we can shut up the comparisons right now.
The hype has been exposed. The WNBA's attempt to manufacture the next superstar got completely dismantled on national television. Paige Bueckers, the so-called next Caitlin Clark, the media darling, the chosen one meant to carry the torch, just got her reality check delivered express, courtesy of the Seattle Storm. And this wasn't just a warning, it was a full-on demolition.
Of one Paige Bueckers. Oh, she's better than Caitlin Clark. I mean, stab me in the eye with a spoon, for Christ's sakes. Wow. So that's a thing right now. Last night, Paige Bueckers dropped 44 points. And we're going to look at a video that just dissects and exposes a lot of that shit. Let me tell you. It exposes a lot of stuff involving Paige Bueckers getting special treatment on the court.
For months, we've been fed the story that Paige Bueckers was the heir apparent to Caitlin Clark's throne. The media hyped her as the savior of women's basketball, breaking Clark's records faster than a teenager cracks iPhone screens. Meanwhile, the league can breathe a sigh of relief.
Diva of Dump Divas Kat Engelbert is breathing a sigh of relief. Her pretend friends in the mainstream media, they are trying to crown a new star. If the media has it their way, this could potentially be the new face of pretend basketball. And it's not just the woke media. There are even some in conservative media who are voluntarily biting into the shit sandwich. Headline at Outkick: "No Caitlin, no problem. Paige Bueckers can save the WNBA season."
She became the fastest player to reach 200 points and 50 assists in just 11 games, one game faster than Clark. Headlines raved about her efficiency, poise, and smart approach to the game. ESPN even ranked her 13th in their mid-season rankings. The hype train was running full speed, and fans were lining up for the Paige Bueckers experience. But here's the thing about hype. It's just hot air until it meets cold, hard reality. And that reality has a name: Seattle Storm defense.
It's a little bit different, huh? It's a little bit different out here when you get Caitlin Clark treatment. It ain't so easy peasy getting to play one-on-one, getting to just do your thing how you want to do it, when you want to do it. Paige Bueckers got the Caitlin Clark treatment for one game, and it got
August 22nd, 2025. Mark it as the night the Paige Bueckers myth officially came crashing down. Fresh off her historic 44-point explosion against the Los Angeles Sparks, Bueckers arrived in Seattle expecting to continue her coronation. Instead, she ran headfirst into a defensive wall that exposed every flaw in her supposedly flawless game.
She went off in a game against the Los Angeles Sparks, scoring 44 points, but the craziest part about that was her shooting percentage. She shot over 80% from the field, and I tweeted about that, and I was like, that's actually insane. Give props where they are due. Shooting over 80%, scoring 44 points is actually insane. But with this game, like, Paige Bueckers she put on a masterclass in scoring. And I think with that, these are some big numbers, and those are some props that need
11 points. That's all the so-called next Caitlin Clark managed against actual top-tier defense. Not 11 in the first quarter. Not 11 in the first half. Just 11 for the entire game, on 2 of 11 shooting with 0 assists and 2 rebounds. The stat sheet looked more like a participation trophy from a youth league game. The Storm's defensive coordinator, Noelle Quinn, said it perfectly before the matchup. After scoring 44 the other night, it was time to see if this princess could handle the Caitlin Clark treatment. Spoiler alert, she could not.
For the game, you said it's going to be important to be physical with like Paige Bueckers. Can you talk about the defensive game plan for Dallas and like how your team was able to hold them to their fewest points of the season?
Yeah, it started, with our attention to detail with Paige. I thought, Slim was very physical, stayed in her space, and the actions that we guarded her in, we were very aggressive, showed multiple bodies, and kind of, made her hesitant to use the ball screen a little bit. I thought we rotated well. And everyone who ended up being on Paige from E on down, I thought we were very...
If you're enjoying this, make sure to subscribe. Now, here's where the story gets really interesting. While Paige Bueckers was getting her reality check in Seattle, let's talk about the real next-level superstar who's been carrying the WNBA all season, Caitlin Clark. Clark has been taking hits that would make NFL linebackers wince. And the numbers don't lie. 17% of all flagrant fouls in the 2024 WNBA season were committed against her. That's not basketball, it's target practice.
Paige Bueckers got Caitlin Clark treatment for the first time in her career, and it looked bad. It looked real bad. Everybody was running around. Yeah, she was cooking. 44 points versus the Sparks. They didn't play a lick of defense, letting this girl play one-on-one basketball in every area of the floor, letting her post up in the mid-range area, one-on-one. Now, I'm giving credit. She's a bucket in one-on-one, especially from that mid-range, from the free throw line down area. But this is the first time we watch teams actively be persistent about taking away her spots and what she wants to do.
The Chicago Sky alone were responsible for 80% of the flagrant fouls committed against Clark. Meanwhile, Paige Bueckers has been floating through games like she's in a college scrimmage, getting the kid gloves treatment. When Bueckers finally faced the kind of physical, aggressive defense that Clark endures every night, she folded faster than a lawn chair in a hurricane. The Storm made it their mission to challenge every shot, contest every possession, and make her work for everything. And the result? She completely disappeared.
Because she got blitzed. She got doubled. And do you want to know what she did as soon as she got blitzed and doubles? She passed. Paige Bueckers, look, she played decent amount early in the game. The game was kind of over and she got subbed out. Paige Bueckers shot 7 times. Paige shot the ball 7.
The media loved to boast about Bueckers' shooting efficiency, 47.4% from the field compared to Clark's rookie season at 41.7%, painting it as proof that Bueckers was more polished and ready for the professional level. But here's what they conveniently left out. Clark is taking the hardest shots in the league while being defended like she has a target on her back. Bueckers' impressive percentages were built on soft defense and easy looks. The moment Seattle decided to guard her like the superstar she was supposed to be, those numbers collapsed like a house of cards in a tornado. Just 2 made field goals out of 11 attempts. That's not efficiency, that's exposure. Meanwhile, Clark has been shooting over defenders who are literally trying to injure her. She's been on the receiving end of flagrant fouls that weren't even basketball plays. She's been subjected to physical dominance as a defensive strategy, and she's still putting up numbers that make Bueckers' stat sheet look like a rough draft.
Paige Bueckers, let me ask you this. How did it feel to be blitzed and played 94 feet before you even get a chance to bring the ball up court like your name was Caitlin Clark, aka my precious Cece? You didn't like that, huh? You hear me? You out there was looking like you was about to cry. Yeah, so what do your fans have to say now? Excuse me, where are you Paige Bueckers fans at? That's y'all MVP and face of the league, right? She's boring. She's not good enough. She gets special treatment. But understand, she kept getting blitz after blitz after blitz after...
Let's be brutally honest about August 22nd. Paige Bueckers got a small taste of what Caitlin Clark faces every night, and she crumbled. One game of real defensive pressure, one game where the opposing team made her earn every shot, and suddenly the next Caitlin Clark looked more like a player headed straight to the bench. This is the same player the media has been hyping as superior to Clark in every measurable way. The same player supposedly more cerebral, more fundamentally sound. The same player who broke Clark's records so quickly that analysts were ready to declare her the better player after just half a season but when push came to shove, Bueckers proved she's not built for the spotlight Clark has been carrying from day one. She's not ready for the physical chess match that happens when teams specifically game plan to stop you. And she's certainly not ready for the level of punishment Clark absorbs while still putting up historic performances.
I want to look up how the WNBA played against Caitlin Clark in terms of the defensive strategy, in terms of the other basketball teams around the WNBA, what they did against Caitlin Clark versus how they've handled Paige this year. Everybody wants to act like Paige is so much better than Caitlin. They're certainly not playing defense on Paige the way they played on Caitlin. They're certainly not attacking her with unnecessary fouls the way they attacked Caitlin with unnecessary fouls last year. So in the 2024 season, there were 35 flagrant fouls called. Caitlin Clark received 17% of the entire season's flagrant fouls, 17%. I mean, we've seen all the injuries, we've seen all the fights, the MMA fights that the WNBA players have gotten into this year. There haven't been 35 flagrant fouls called.
While we're on the topic of manufactured narratives, let's look at the real numbers. Caitlin Clark's rookie season: 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game, while being the most targeted player in the league. Paige Bueckers' rookie season: 19.7 points, 5.3 assists, and 4.1 rebounds per game. While getting the softest defensive treatment in the WNBA, Clark achieved those numbers while enduring flagrant fouls at twice the rate of any other player. Clark achieved them while opposing coaches literally instructed their players to be physical with her as a key defensive strategy. Clark achieved them while dealing with plays her own coach deemed unacceptable. Bueckers? She did it against teams that treated her like she was made of glass. And the moment one team decided to guard her like the superstar she was supposed to be, she completely disappeared.
She was minus 17 on the floor. She had 0 assists and 11 points. 0 assists. 0 assists. That's mental. That's mental for a player that they were trying to say was better than Caitlin Clark. And I'm not even going to say, oh yeah, the points are everything. Points aren't everything at the end of the day. Assists aren't everything. Like, all of these individual stats aren't everything. It was just the fact that she literally... How many blitzes did the Indiana... Or how many open shots did the Indiana Fever get off a Caitlin Clark blitz? And albeit, it's very different when you have a short roller in Leah.
The Storm didn't just beat Paige Bueckers. They created a defensive blueprint every team should study. Brittany Sykes took on primary defensive duties, supported by Skylar Diggins, Gabby Williams, and Erica Wheeler. They made Bueckers work for every possession, contested every shot, and refused to give her the easy looks she had feasted on all season. It's going to take not just the primary defender on her, but our second and third layers of defense to stay locked in on the actions she receives, Storm coach Noelle Quinn explained. They treated her like a superstar, and she couldn't handle it. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark has been dealing with this level of defensive attention since her very first day in the league. Multiple defenders on her, hard fouls, and nearly everything short of actual assault, and she's still rewriting the record books. Now, some might point to Bueckers' injury history as an excuse for her performance: torn ACL, time away from the game, finding her rhythm. But that's exactly the point. Clark never got the luxury of excuses. She entered the WNBA and immediately became public enemy number one. She faced the hardest defensive schemes, the most physical play, and the most scrutiny from day one. No grace period. No easy games. She was thrown into the fire and came out looking like a Hall of Famer. Bueckers, by contrast, received the red carpet treatment for most of her rookie season. The moment she faced real adversity, she folded. That's not the mark of a superstar. It's the mark of a player built up by hype that ignored reality.
And when you guard a player like Paige, it's not just relying on, your guards, whoever has the main matchup, but it becomes a team picture, and understanding, rotations on the ball, off the ball. And I think the other thing that we did, early on, we rebounded decently out of it. We didn't give up too many. I think it was 12 second chance points at the half, but not a lot of deflating possessions after having a lot of deflections and things like that.
The most telling part of the Paige Bueckers experiment? Even with all the media hype, the manufactured records, and the soft treatment from opposing defenses, the Dallas Wings are still a disaster. They're 9-28 on the season, already eliminated from playoff contention, and it looks like they wasted the number 1 pick on Fool's Gold. Compare that to Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. She took one of the league's worst teams and turned them into must-see television. She filled arenas, broke viewership records, and made the WNBA relevant to casual sports fans for the first time in years. Clark didn't just improve her team's record, she elevated the entire league's profile. Bueckers? She can't even win games in a season where she's given every benefit of the doubt. And when teams start giving her the Caitlin Clark treatment night after night. If August 22nd was any indication, it's going to be a long, painful lesson in what real superstardom looks like.
Assists did she have? Not enough. But if her name was Caitlin Clark, I bet she would have had at least 9 to 10 assists. You hear me? Because she's more than just a scorer. You hear me? Unlike Paige Bueckers, she's only a scorer. She's not dynamic. She's boring. You hear me? Clearly she fits the narrative, but she can't handle being double team or triple team. She was out there looking like a...
The most frustrating part of this entire charade has been watching the media desperately try to manufacture a rivalry that doesn't exist. They spent months convincing us that Paige Bueckers wasn't just comparable to Caitlin Clark, but somehow superior. They pointed to shooting percentages while ignoring context. They highlighted efficiency numbers while overlooking the level of defensive pressure each player faced. ESPN ranked Bueckers 13th in their mid-season rankings, while Clark sat higher despite dealing with exponentially more physical attention. The narrative was set. Bueckers was the more complete player, the more fundamentally sound prospect, the rightful heir to Clark's throne. One game against actual defense exposed all of that as nothing more than media manipulation. The Emperor had no clothes, and everyone saw it on national television. Here's the harsh reality the WNBA and its media partners need to accept. There is no next Caitlin Clark. Clark isn't just great. She's a generational talent who changed the sport. She's the Tiger Woods of women's basketball, the player who transcended the game and brought it to mainstream audiences.
Did you just say Paige Bueckers will save the WNBA season? This season? The same Paige Bueckers that's dating Elmer Fudd? The same Paige that plays in front of empty civic centers for the Dallas Wankers? You expect me to believe she is going to save the WNBA season? She can't even sell out home games. Matter of fact, she doesn't come anywhere close to selling out games. The Wankers rank near the bottom of the league in attendance.
Paige Bueckers isn't the next Caitlin Clark. She's just another talented player caught up in a hype machine desperate to manufacture the next big thing. When she finally faced the same challenges Clark overcomes every night, she wilted under the pressure. The WNBA can keep trying to prop up pretenders, but August 22nd, 2025 will be remembered as the night reality crushed their manufactured narrative. Paige Bueckers got her reality check, and it bounced higher than her shooting percentage against Seattle. Caitlin Clark remains the gold standard, the player who not only elevates her own game, but elevates the entire sport. Everyone else is playing for second place. And based on what we saw in Seattle, some aren't even qualified for that. The agenda has been exposed. The manufactured hype has been deflated. The real question now isn't who the next Caitlin Clark will be. It's whether anyone will ever reach her level.